The Inside Stepinac Basketball Podcast is back, and once again, it is brought to you by All Pro Cleaning and Restoration, a Balfour company, commercial, residential property restoration and construction company. Services include fire and water damage restoration, mold remediation, HVAC, duct cleaning, and complete construction services. Been a valued service provider for Westchester County and the Tri-State area for over 35 years and a proud supporter of Stepinac basketball, as is White Plains Hospital, a sponsor of GameDay One, and has been so good to high school athletics, Stepinac basketball, and GameDay One since we started. And now, the Inside Stepinac Basketball Podcast with Coach Patrick Massaroni. Inside Stepinac Basketball Podcast, episode 5 here from the LMC Media Studios in the Mariner. Kevin Devaney Jr. Show brought to you by All Pro Cleaning and Restoration and our good friends at White Plains Hospital. Episode 5, Coach, we're into the thick of the season. Coach Pat Massaroni from Stepinac. Coach, how do you assess the weekend, right? So you probably had as crazy a travel as possible. What was the whirlwind of those 2 days like?
Yeah, we when you put together the schedule we put together, we wanted to make sure we challenge ourselves. But you look at travel, proximity, sleep or lack thereof, and then we go ahead and you play 4 games in 7 days. Hayes, Jefferson, Paul VI, and Scanlan, Bronx, White Plains, Virginia, White Plains. It was some stretch and some week that we had and. We went on the road, played a true road game. I didn't realize until after the fact that was their 40th straight win for Paul VI.
Yeah, I saw it on TV.
Unbelievable environment, sold out, great facility Glenn has and his staff. And from the Paragon Sports Marketing team to ESPN and everywhere in between, they treated us first class in everything we did. And look, we wanted to come out on top. We're continuing to improve and get better, but I didn't know what Friday was going to entail just because you get back, lack of sleep. Now you're trying to prepare a league game, right? And you're trying to ultimately get that 1 seed where you get a bye in the playoffs. And played 11 guys in the first half, up 3 at halftime. Never felt phased as a group, and then come out and I think outscore Scanlan 50 to 20-something in the second half. Great energy and a home environment. That was the students.
Yeah.
Our season ticket holders, the energy in the gym. We sold out again. It just, you look at it every single time, and it was packed in there.
It was awesome, but it was also packed in the Paul VI game. So let's just get back to that because there's a lot of things working against you in that game as a team. Uncomfortable, maybe being on national TV, the nerves of that. But then also, did you know what that environment was truly going to be like?
We knew it would be a good crowd. It had sold out in advance. But when we got there was a girls-boys doubleheader. So the girls team played Sidwell Friends. That went to overtime. The game, and it was just like when you walked in, we were like, "Oh, look at that!" And look at this. It was mob, 1,200 people. And it was loud, and those kids they were a great student section. They were ruthless in warm-ups. They were ruthless at the game, and they were what makes high school basketball what it's about. And I said to our guys, I said to our staff when we were coming back and getting ready to play on Friday, it's like those are what the environments you want. You get to play on national TV, and I do think we were a bit nervous for some of our guys, despite having so much accolades and so much hype. When you're on ESPN, you're on ESPN. You see different cameras. You see a different production team. You do see Paulby and Cardi there. Kids press a little bit. And then, and I listened to your other podcast you got going, right? Yeah. It's like 2 guys hit threes in the first quarter that hadn't made a shot all game for PVI all season. And they had some guys that stepped up to the stage, and we didn't. And it was game 4, and we're going to continue to get better and teaching moments. And I thought the conversation after the game from the staff to the players was a real one and one that'll continue to progress. But even after Scanlan, we're 5 games in, and there's a long way to go on this journey.
Playing on national TV, though, obviously all your games are technically anyone can watch them anywhere, right? Because they're all streamed. But when you're on ESPN, it's very different, right? So I realized how different it was by the number of people who text me at about 8:10. Wondering why the game wasn't on, right?
Because the girls game went
long, right? So they're looking at ESPNU, and they're like, I can't find. So I'm like, wow, it just kind of reminds you, just like when you're on TV, it's just different, right? So what was it like? So the game ends, you keep your phone in the locker room.
Yeah.
Was it like multiplied number of exponential more texts than ever?
I average just me alone like 100 to 200 texts after every game, right?
Wow.
There's a lot of people that, in a good way or bad way. This, and again, I keep going back to, this was probably the first game where there was the amount of people that were coaches after the game. The amount of text messages of like,
you're talking college coaches?
No. The amount of like fans that were now coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That had advice on what to do next time on national TV.
Go on.
Yeah. So that was interesting.
Wait.
And then
anyone say anything about 7-footer shooting threes? Is that the problem?
I mean, just and look, I always say when we win, right? Everybody is happy, and the coaches are the best in America.
Yeah.
We lose, the coaches are not. This was the first time though, and it's becoming more and more. This year alone, I don't know if it's a show, the hype, the whatever. This was the first time like nasty social media DMs from people. And then we do have like I know Facebook's dying, but we have a group of fans that follow us on Facebook.
Yeah.
So we post on X, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And between Facebook and Instagram, it was pretty wild. Like, the nasty comments that came through after losing. So yeah, I do get to my phone and some people say like, oh, ignore those people, and we do. But the people that do support us, I do get back to and whatnot. But you want to win every game, but ESPN. So I always say, there's linear, right, which is like digital and streaming, and then there's real TV.
Yeah.
And Thursday night was real TV. We have 2 more on national TV.
Yeah.
2 NBA TV games, like real, not the app. And then we potentially at City of Palms could be on national TV 1 or 2 more times. So it's a different ball game, and there's only 8 ESPN or 10 ESPN high school games this year,
entire year,
and we were one of them.
Yeah, it's amazing. So the coaching stuff is funny because I also received some of that stuff. By the way, Facebook's not dying; it's still a billion-dollar company.
Yeah,
they still do that, but so it's still an avenue for probably a certain. It's probably for an older generation.
Yeah, the demographic of those fans
who's not used to watching basketball played the way your guys are trying to play it.
Yeah.
Whereas the big man is out on the perimeter. And so like it really that's probably the area where they're probably most critical of you guys.
Yeah.
So
there is still like just the amount of positive like people watching this and into this, and the guests we've had. Well, we appreciate. Like I appreciate those emails, the calls, the reposts, the DMs, the messages has been. There is more and more people watching due to the fact we upgraded to the studio here out of where we were last year. We did have a show last year, and whatnot. So we do appreciate the positive as well. But it is high school basketball. Mm-hmm. The number 1 teams do lose in all sports and all levels. We have won 3 championships in a row. We have an extremely talented group. We're still trying to figure out roles and define roles, and that's on me and my staff. But it's an opportunity for us to continue to get better. But national TV is national TV. Win or lose.
Yeah.
We've won on national TV. We've lost on national TV. I just know Stepinac was on ESPN for 2 hours straight as a national brand.
And they showed you a lot on the screen.
Yeah.
And most times you didn't look very pleased, but it was still great to see the team out there. You turn around, obviously you come home, you play the Monsignor Scanlan, big second half of that game, win the game. Did you walk into the locker room and did it kind of like, I don't want to say nothing erases a loss, but did it sort of kind of get you guys back on the right mind?
Yeah, without a doubt, it did. And we were able to work on some things. We did some things differently. I thought our leaders and our starting 5, the energy was even higher, and the team sense of team was there and rallying together. Because when you're dealing with a talented group, it can go one way or another. And I thought our first 5 specifically did a great job starting the game. We were up double digits at the end of the first quarter. We subbed a little bit. Scanlan played extremely hard, and then start of the third quarter came out, and that's what you're supposed to do in those situations.
So I said on the broadcast, I was working the game. I said I bet there's going to be an emphasis on just attacking the basket, getting inside, and right away. Was that what you said at halftime?
Yeah, the first set we were going right to the post, and then we were just going to say get downhill, get to the free throw line. The game was so physical. I actually, when I leave here, I got to go try to find somebody to stitch up. Josiah's jersey was ripped on the first play of the game. So, like, literally the whole thing. And we need it for Florida. So,
you were yelling about the jersey pulling.
Yeah, I mean, it just, it was extremely physical. And I thought the officials did a really good job both ways. It's a tough game to ref. The environment was amazing. Our students, the jungle, was elite. Those kids came out.
For Patrice as well.
Patrice, Patrice a fan favorite, and but just the overall energy there, and they were well behaved, and they did a great job. And I know they're fired up for January 3rd. They're already thinking of what they're going to do and the next home game and whatnot. But they made an impact.
We have a special guest in here today. So we're taping on this early in the week for two reasons. Obviously, your special guest is here, but also because you guys are traveling this week. Just give us a little thoughts about getting on a plane.
Yeah, first off, looking forward to getting out of the 7 to 20 degree weather that we're sitting in right now. But get to head to the prestigious City of Palms tournament. Donnie Wilkie, Mary, and the entire team there. It seems to get better year in and year out. It's 52 or 53 years now going. First class in everything they do for our team and for the overall event. To quote Donnie always says that teams will come out of there 1-3, 2-2 that go on to win state titles. We get Sarasota, who's been in the finals in Florida. They're 8-0 on Thursday. Win or lose, you get St. John's Bosco out of California, or the Villages, who's got 3 Division I kids. So it's a prestigious 16-team tournament, played in a beautiful arena in Fort Myers. We have a huge alumni reception before our game on Thursday. And looking forward to being challenged and going out there and hopefully be productive on the national stage again.
Is there pressure on this team right now to go down there and get some wins?
I think everybody's feeling it a little bit to try to get 1 or 2 on that stage. To probably doubt a lot of the haters out there. And I just think social media, as positive as it is, kids see what the negativity is, and we all see it unless you live under a rock. So it's I think there's a little pressure there, but we got to go down and be free and play and go execute our game no matter who we're playing.
Our next guest, who we have this week, we're very lucky to have Dennis Page coming in, founder of Slam Magazine, and he knows all about pressure. Watched a lot of the landscape of high school basketball at all levels changed so much over these last 30 years that he's been involved, and we are so pleased to have him. We're going to take a quick break and talk about our sponsors, All Pro Cleaning and Restoration and White Plains Hospital. This podcast is brought to you by All Pro Cleaning and Restoration, a Balfour company. The studio is sponsored by White Plains Hospital. And in studio this week is our special guest. Dennis Page is the founder of Slam Magazine, a publication that didn't just cover basketball. It changed the way the game was seen, told, and felt. Launched in 1994, Slam blended hip-hop culture, street ball, fashion, and fearless storytelling at a time when no one else was doing it. Gave a voice to players, celebrated playground legends, and helped shape the modern basketball culture we see today. Slam's ability to mix NBA, college, and high school basketball became the heartbeat of the game, and it all started with Dennis Page's vision. In this segment, we welcome Naismith Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Dennis Page. We are back with our very special guest, Dennis Page, founder of Slam Magazine, member of the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, things that Coach Pat Massaroni one day will aspire to be part of. But thank you, Dennis, for being here and coming in from the city. And how's your winter going so far, basketball season?
It's cold. I haven't seen enough games, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Not out there like I used to be. I was a high school hound, like little nerd boy following high school teams, and that's how I got into this. But I have not seen him that much. I think I'll the Jordan Holiday Classic, where I think you guys are playing. So I will be there.
Montverde National TV
I
coming
will be
up.
at that, and then Hoop Hall I always go to. But, the city's not what it used to be, so I'm just not out there as much.
So you obviously could go walk into any game you want, but you choose to go to high school games. And why is that? Why do you see after all these years? Because people ask me the same question about why I still love high school basketball so much. So what is yours?
It's a long story. I've told it 100 times, but I have an older brother who is a real good player. I'm from Trenton, New Jersey, which I always thought was the capital of basketball. It was not, as I learned later on. But he used to drag me around. I go to the playground. We went to a lot of camps and playground camps. Nothing like what they have now. There was no 5-star then. And then I was around 12 years old, 1965, and my father took me to see Lou Alcindor at Power Memorial. Come down to Trenton, played a historic team called Trenton Catholic. On a Sunday afternoon, and I was just mesmerized. I had seen a lot of good players, as a little kid, but when I saw Lou, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, for those that don't know, I was just completely, utterly blown away that this 7'1" kid was so incredibly good.
Yeah, and It's amazing. And so you know when you see something special like that, right? So you
Absolutely.
I still will say one of my proudest tweets I've ever had was when I went to Albany for the New York State Girls Basketball Championship, and I watched Brianna Stewart warm up. And I said, she's the best high school girls basketball player I think I've ever seen just warming up. I mean, she was incredible. And then she played the first half of the game. And I said, Lou Alcindor is New York's best basketball player ever.
Absolutely.
Male, and Brianna Stewart is the female. And so the people chimed in, and I think I've been...
That's a funny story. You go completely, I don't even know, what is that, 65, 35, 50 years later, I had the same feeling when I saw Cooper Flagg warm up for Montford, I think his sophomore year up at Hoop Hall. I had heard about him. I'm like, I can just tell. I've seen so many kids like you, like all you guys. And I'm like, this kid's special. And he didn't even start as a sophomore, came off the bench, and incredible.
Well, we played Cooper Flagg senior year. That was a team, him, Queen, Wright. Exactly. They go down the whole Ace and Noel and whatnot. And we play him down at City of Palms. And we're figuring out a scouting report and all this stuff. So we were like, hey, Flagg, we're going to not let shoot, but like we're going to not just get killed him driving to the lane. We're not going to get dunked on the whole game. So he makes his first three. And we're guarding him, but, Boogie guard him. Boogie's 6'3", 6'8", 6'9". Makes another three. We call timeout. Boogie comes in the huddle. He's like, you said let him shoot. I said, I didn't say let him shoot. I said, we're maybe going to hope that he doesn't make shots.
Yeah. That team was so loaded. You didn't even really get to see how good he was on that team.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, you get to see these guys too, Coach. You see them, and you obviously are facing these teams moving on. How much do you learn, going in about just kind of reputation of these guys? You face the Boozers, right?
Yeah, we faced the Boozers, Koa Pete, Boncaro we beat at City of Palms. Okay. Dylan Harper, we beat up at Hoop Hall. So you go through the list. I sit there and I watch games, and I'm like, whoa, we played them, or we this. A couple guys who went to Duke. Obviously, all those guys that were on that Montverde team. Darius Acuff kicked our butt, who's now playing for Arkansas. He was at IMG. So, we've had some good wins and some butt kickings versus these guys. But, you get into these events. Dennis talked on, that you're in elite matchups, year in and year out.
Yeah. So, Dennis, you start Slam in 1994?
94, yeah.
94. And obviously, it was just different, right? It was about basketball culture, hip-hop, street ball, all the things brought into it. And then when did you say, I want to have a high school element to this?
Well, high school was always the genesis of my DNA. That's what I care about. And so that was an important part of what Slam would be, but also kind of crazy. But when I went to the games, for some twisted reason, the music mattered, the music they were playing in the layup lines, what sneakers they were wearing, whether it was on the playground, how guys dressed. And then the high school guys, that was the future. So you really, I saw the game as this visual thing. Okay. Art is a little extreme, but that's how I saw it. So when I didn't actually have the immediate germ of the idea for Slam. It came from a friend of mine, Alan Grumblatt, who I always recognize as the guy that planted the seed. He said, why don't you start a hip-hop basketball magazine? I'm like, oh, okay. It took me about a day to figure it out. But when I conceived of it, high school was kind of the heart and soul. Then college, NBA, sneakers, the whole picture of basketball.
It's got to be hard. So I remember I was in high school when there was the profile on Stephon Marbury.
Okay.
And it was huge, obviously, because you just didn't see high school. You didn't turn pages of a magazine.
Correct.
From and seeing Jordan and these guys, and then see a high school player. So what was that a leap of faith? Was that a little bit of a risk?
Well, I was in the publishing business. I had a guitar magazine called Guitar World. I don't know shit about guitars, but I was sort of a hip hop guy, huge basketball fan, going to games all the time. I remember, like '88, I think I saw Tolentine play Christ the King. You guys are too young. This was Malik Sealy's team, and then saw Kenny Anderson. So I'm just like going to games. So in '94, actually I conceived it in '93. The actual idea took me until '94 to get it off the ground. But as we put the table of contents together, it was high school, and the diary, which was Stephon Marbury, really didn't appear to issue number 4, I think. But Marbury was running. It was really Felipe in '93.
I was going to say about Felipe, yeah.
Felipe first, and then Marbury was, if you knew, you knew. He was the guy, the whole family. I knew about his 3 older brothers, and Steph was going to be the one to finally make it. So one of my editors came up with the idea as the Slam Diary, which still exists 31 years later.
Amazing. So remember Felipe Lopez?
Yeah.
So Felipe Lopez was...
The crowds he would get.
So
Felipe was LeBron.
Yes.
Yeah. Before LeBron.
And Lou DeMello was a coach. He's obviously a Westchester resident. I know Lou very well. His granddaughter just became a 7th grade phenom at a high school level in Westchester. Okay. And that's like his prodigy. So Lou was coaching those teams. I didn't know him back then. And a friend of mine said, we're gonna go watch Rice High School play. I'm like, why would you do that? They're like, well, they have this guy Felipe Lopez.
But
tickets are
times.
$20, which in 1993 would be like $100 now, you know? Right. And so they would go watch, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, a high school player could have this level of attraction.
Yeah, following.
And then you think to yourself, like, well, he's obviously just gonna go on to become a superstar. How hard is it for Slam over the years to identify someone young? And like Lenny Cook, right? So like players who were so dominant young, and then like maybe didn't make it. So was it how much pressure was there on you guys?
I mean, Lenny he blew up at ABCD camp.
Yeah, of course.
So that was my first camp, I think in '94. So it was Marbury, Tim Thomas, who else was there? Kobe. You know, that you go as sophomores. LeBron went as a sophomore.
He did, yeah.
And I think Marbury also went as a sophomore. So you're at Fairleigh Dickinson, checking out ABCD. And I thought it was just big to me.
Yeah.
I didn't think the rest of the world cared about high school basketball. And then it was huge. There's a lot of basketball fans out there, which I had no idea.
It's amazing. So I remember going to ABCD camp, and I used to watch guys and think to myself, this is the next big star. And I remember I watched Joakim Noah. So there was a kid from Westchester, Weisfeld, I forget his name, and he gets invited to the camp, and he got teamed with Joakim Noah. And I remember thinking to myself, like, well, Joakim Noah is going to be an NBA megastar. He ended up having a really good career.
Yeah.
But I saw Joakim at Poly. Poly Prep.
And so, and then I actually took my family back to FDU for a women's basketball game this past year.
Yep.
And I walk in, I go, wow, this is like bringing back all these. Because I went like 4 or 5 years in a row. How much of that camp kind of set the stage for kind of like you said, making it a mainstream?
I think that's Sonny Vaccaro, who I still am in touch with. I mean, to me, Sonny is the guy.
Yes.
That really invented this thing, with the Dapper Dan Classic, which I used to watch as a little kid from Philadelphia. I think the game was in Pittsburgh, but I would get it on the Philadelphia station. I was just mesmerized by it. I can't even explain, maybe because the games are so short and you don't have to sit there for 2.5 hours. Yeah. So, but it was always the thing of who's next.
Yeah.
It really mattered to me.
Was there pressure on that, on who's next? On like finding the who's next guy?
Yeah, for us. Yeah. But again, very few high school guys, I should say, get the cover. Yeah. So we had to be really, really certain who got it. Like LeBron, we missed.
Okay.
I think SI did him first, and then we paired him with Sebastian Telfair.
Yes.
Was his first cover.
Yeah.
But I'm still mad at my editor at that time, Ryan Jones. Do you know Ryan?
No, I don't know Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan was my editor. We were the first national magazine to write about LeBron as a sophomore. And I'm like, who is this kid? And Ryan was like, just you watch. And then to this day, I'm like, why didn't you bring him to me to be on the cover? He goes, you'll never put a junior on the cover.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think we would have.
So I've seen high school basketball in the metropolitan area and how much it's changed. How much have you seen high school basketball change on the national stage? Because he deals with it. Coach Pat Math deals with it in a big way. LeBron James probably wouldn't have gone to St. Vincent St. Mary. He wouldn't have gone to a local Catholic school in Akron, Ohio.
Absolutely.
He would have been plucked and taken down to IMG, right?
100%.
So how much have you seen that all change?
It's incredible. I mean, I go way back, like you guys, to, if you were really, really elite, you maybe went to a Catholic school, a Christ the King. There was Tolentine, Laughlin, guys like Mark Jackson, they all went there. Lou Alcindor, how did he end up at Power? So I think there was a lot of recruiting going on. And then the public schools also got elite kids. They would move neighborhoods. I've seen this in New York, Philadelphia. Every city has this, Chicago. So they would move. They'd live with their uncle. The powerhouse.
They have a good address.
Yeah, good address. We all know that story, which I love. You had the Lincolns, Thomas Jefferson. Who else were the big schools then? Boys and girls. Yep. I don't know. I was fascinated by it. So then, who was for you guys, who's the first real basketball? I go back to a school called Spartanburg Prep down in Carolina,
South Carolina,
that they would start parking kids down there. And then they'd slowly.
For me, it was everybody went to Oak Hill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was Oak Hill and what was the other school down there? Way before Stu Vetter and those guys. There's another school. Flint Hill.
Oh yeah.
Was Stu Vetter that went to Calvert.
Mine was Mount Vernon. Mine was down the street, Mount Vernon, right? So I grew up in Eastchester, and I heard about Mount Vernon.
I want to talk about Mount Vernon.
And so Mount Vernon became like this. So I was very lucky. So I was working at the Journal News, local newspaper.
Yep.
And I was like kind of the number 2 basketball guy. Pat was still in high school at this point. I remember knowing Pat in high school. And they had like this great run of
made your job good. I would say he scores.
Yes, you would always. Ben Gordon comes along, and Mount Vernon was kind of like back not in the back.
Wait. We got it before that.
Oh, I'm talking about the 70s. You want to talk about the 70s?
70s.
Yeah, that was a
like
different
Earl
level.
Tatum,
80s.
Gus and Ray Williams,
Yeah.
Rodney and Scooter McRae. I knew about it because I read about it in Street and Smith.
Yeah.
I'm like, who are these Mount Vernon guys?
Yeah, best teams ever. So many people say that that's the best basketball team, 1971 Mount Vernon, best basketball team ever assembled.
What's the 71 team?
So that was Scooter and McRae.
Scooter and Rodney. Yep.
So now there's people that say, well, the Stepinac team right now in Westchester has maybe the best talent that's ever been on a basketball court in Westchester. So you know, obviously, Pat, you've heard about Mount Vernon teams over the years. Your dad obviously
respect Bob and everything, even
Yeah.
going before Bob.
Yeah.
But
We used to
everything
go
that Mount
up
Vernon.
there. Yeah, that's before Slam's time.
Yeah.
But I would go up there a lot and check them out. Who was the little guard they had in the mid-90s?
in the mid-90s.
Mid-late 90s.
Oh,
Michael
Coburn?
Michael Coburn.
Yeah,
He coaches now.
He a little later.
No way.
Yeah, Mike's an assistant up at Greenwich Country Day.
No kidding.
I saw him at a Stepinac event.
He comes to a bunch of our games and events, and
Yeah.
he's friends in with the Stepinac crew. We have a group of older guys that rent the gym once a week that play, and he's part of that crew that plays.
I want to say, so I've been doing this 27 years. I mean, I do football, basketball, all sports. Thousands and thousands and thousands of athletes, male and female. Michael Coburn is probably single digit in terms of my favorite.
I remember.
like,
I saw him a bunch of. Where did he go to Rutgers for a minute?
Rutgers,
Rutgers for a minute.
Yeah. So him and John Mitchell ended up. Ron Mitchell went to Florida and then went to Rutgers.
Transferred back.
And then transferred back to. And now he's coaching college basketball.
Yes, he was in college, went to the G League, and now he's back at college.
Yeah. So
This is important. Is Mount Vernon still hold the record for most state championships in New York State? Obviously,
I believe they do. Well, there's the one of the small schools in Eastern Long Island. I forget.
Bridgehampton.
Yeah, Bridgehampton. Yeah,
the
that's
Killer
it.
Bees.
Yeah,
I'm good friends with Carl
Yeah,
Johnson.
Okay.
I'm
I
like
think
blanking.
they're at 9, and Mount Vernon might be at 10.
Yeah,
something like
and
that.
it's remarkable what they've done. Obviously, in the highest level classification.
Yep.
But it's hard. So, like, they're talking about the changing landscape of high school basketball. It's like it's hard to keep kids in an inner city school when there's other options out there. There's Catholic schools. Now, the Catholic schools have a hard time keeping kids because the other options out there.
No, if you are elite, let's say, top 100 ranked,
Yeah.
you are not going to your local Catholic school, no less your public school.
They have 3 guys right now. So they have Theo Ratliff's twin sons, Adonis and Darius, and obviously Josiah Jervis, who's going to Michigan State. And so the question is, like, how did
that happen?
Yeah,
how did you keep them?
I think
off the record.
Yeah, no, we're on the record here. No, but it is interesting to see when you get into, like, you go down to the Nike EYBL or the Under Armour circuit or Adidas circuit. Yep. I mean, it is mayhem. It is every elite school in the country is poaching your players, right?
Exactly.
And I've been fortunate enough to be there at these events, and you try to, fend off what it is. But I think relationships, one, being transparent with these families and the parents. I think the group stayed together. Part of it this year is because nobody in New York State Catholic League history has won 4 titles in a row.
They won
ever.
3, yeah.
Okay.
And that's an opportunity on the table. The third, I made it to them that we would play. We always play an elite schedule, but we made it to them that we make this the hardest one we would have to give them the exposure that you would maybe get in the Nike EYBL or the Overtime Elite or the grind session, that we would be on the platform that you would get.
Are you able to play those teams?
We could play some. We could play some.
How many out-of-conference games can you have?
So we get 9 non-league games.
9, okay.
24 total. 9 of them are non-league. Of them, we'll have, Ford at City of Palms coming up. Montverde in the Jordan Brand event, Chad and crew. Hoop Hall, IMG. Played Jefferson, who went 30-1 last year from the PSAL.
Paul the Sixth,
who's
on ESPN last
week. Won
Which
3
I didn't
titles.
even know. They do a terrible job, ESPN, telling you that these games are on. You lost to Paul
It's
Sixth.
funny that I was saying that I got 100 text messages from people trying to find the game. Because
I had no idea. Ryan told me.
Yeah.
2 days later.
So I think the last thing is that our whole thing is that you can go home and you can go to bed every night with your mom and dad, or mom or dad, whoever
Did
might
they
be.
grow up here?
Yeah, and everybody lives at home.
Okay.
No
there's no dorms, there's no housing.
Right. No, I mean, did the Ratliffs grow up?
No, they grew up they were younger, they were wherever dad was playing.
Got it.
So the younger, if you ask them, was out in L.A., and then home for them was in Georgia, the suburbs of Atlanta. And then end of 8th grade, they relocated to New York. Christina, mom, has family here. And I think because we've had a run with some NBA families, the Griffins, the Isleys, they're all connected. As you know, this basketball game is small. And I remember getting a call from Mrs. Griffin saying, like, hey, a friend of mine has got these 2 twins.
He asked me.
They're like 6'6", they're like 6'6", they're long, they're raw. Would you be interested? This was like in the summer. So yeah, 6'6", like in high school basketball. Yeah, we're interested. And connect with Theo, and they were in like 2 days later, meet with admissions, and moved, and they stayed. And the best part about the Ratliffs, and Darius says it best, is they played freshman basketball, right? Freshman basketball, which is everybody wants to be on varsity, everybody wants to play, everybody wants everything, right? They played freshman basketball. Then sophomore year, they were on varsity, but they just weren't ready yet. They weren't, and they didn't play a lot. And to shift it to Adonis says it humbled him on like being able to learn. And then the rest is now they're
most
both,
kids would have left.
Yeah, they're both, and that's a credit to their mom and dad.
Exactly.
But too, like Josiah, you go down the like Josiah was being poached by everybody, was being told to leave. You're not gonna be able to get ranked. You're not gonna have a chance at McDonald's. You're not gonna get all this notoriety. Now he's 31st in the country in ESPN.
Yeah,
he's higher in On3/Rivals. He's in contention to be a McDonald's All-American. He's signed with Michigan State. And then you go down, too, to like Hassan Karesi, who's going to Fordham.
Yeah.
Was told to leave. Dylan Perry was going to Monmouth, told to leave.
Yeah.
Josh Rivera, our 6th man, told to leave. You go down a list on our young kids. They're like, oh, you're not going to play there. The best part about these 5, not only are they going to go to school for free, all 5 will be compensated next year in some sort of NIL. And that's probably the most rewarding, because everybody tells them that they can't get it out of staying in the same school.
Right.
And they've all stayed for 4 years. And they got great stories, and hopefully the stories end on a high. But
you like NIL?
Yeah, so
for college or just in general?
In all.
Yeah, honestly, I do. Okay. I love it because when I was way back in the beginning watching this stuff, kids are getting paid under the table, and then getting paid to play in the summer, and now it's just out in the open, which is good. It's great for the coaches. They don't have to sneak around anymore. Especially on the college level, and but the portal is crazy on the college level, obviously. Yeah. So they just
we played, Dennis. We played 2 games this year. The kids have left the day. Our opposing opponents have left the day after we played them.
They left the school,
gone, left in.
Yeah, I saw the kid from Jefferson Swan left, right?
We played them Sunday. He transferred Monday.
No way.
Where's
he going?
He's going to St. James in the new Nike League there's a new school down in Virginia. Book Richardson is the new
that's
head coach.
Book's program, right?
So
the reaction whenever you hear transfer portal, NIL, everyone loves to just run and say, "Oh, the system's broken. The system's broken." Is it broken, or is it just kind of the evolution of how things are going to be?
This is the way it's just out in the open.
Yeah.
There's so many coaches, let's not get into the names.
Yeah.
You already brought one of them up.
Yeah.
That already, suffered enough.
Yep.
And God bless. I think it's great for the families. It's great for the players. Hey, look, most of them are not going to make it to the NBA. So you can get some money now. God bless.
So a big thing with NIL is obviously marketability, right? So you have to be talented, but you also have to be somewhat marketable. Boogie Flan had a great name, right? So everyone knew Boogie. My son still says we went to Stepinac the other night. He's 8 years old, and he says, "Boogie going to be there?" I said, "No, he's playing for Florida. He doesn't go to Stepinac on Friday night." But like Boogie was something that people remembered. So the marketability is important, but so is like sort of the exposure. So how much pressure does it fall on like a publication like yours to try to give that exposure?
We cover them. Sounds a little harsh, but I don't care where they play.
Yeah.
You know, my allegiance is still for. It's how I grew up, and both of you guys came, from programs like support the local high school.
Yeah.
Support the local Catholic school, whatever the case may be. But that's gone. So we will cover them. The top kids, wherever they play. So, but I feel really bad. I played in my local high school. The coaches. And that system and the community, they're the ones that are going to suffer. I saw like you had that high school kid from Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
Like a kid like that, I'm shocked he's, not down at IMG or whatever.
The running back.
Oh,
the running
back.
back.
So we had Braden Richardson on, and he's a kid who had a lot of pressure to leave his school.
Right.
And, his family is very close with the Tarrytown Sleepy Hollow, and he wanted to kind of make it as a Sleepy Hollow player, which is great for him, but like, what did he miss out on something? Did he miss out on an opportunity? Like, who knows? But like, we'll never know. And these things all kind of work themselves out, and the great players rise. But it is hard for a 16, 17-year-old to not listen when people talk to them about this sort of stuff. So
there is one thing too in today's landscape on the as newspapers are going less and less, like the print, right? Not
print,
digital.
It's
print.
gone.
It's gone.
Yeah. It's gone.
It's a combo of the self-marketing that some of these kids, the elite ones, don't need to because they're covered in what they are. But these, the self-marketing or self-promotion to get them, NIL deals or coverage has become more and more now that you're seeing.
I think it's funny. I was thinking about that when we started. We didn't get to this yet, but maybe we want the Slam Summer Classic.
Yeah. Exactly, yes.
Our version of the McDonald's game, if you will, which we started, I think, in 2018.
Yeah.
The social media, we talk a lot about this at Slam. The players were much bigger then. You had Jalen Green, Sharif Cooper, Josh Christopher. That class, 2018, 2019, their social media accounts were much larger. I don't know why, than they are now. That I think, if you just look at the straight numbers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That event is we've been fortunate enough to have multiple guys in it, and what you guys have done there is it's as a New Yorker, it's awesome.
Yeah. Tell us about the event and how the selection process is and everything goes into it.
I mean, the process, it's pretty straightforward. We have the Slam staff, Adam Figman, Franklin Cali, our editor-in-chief, and then we partner with Made Hoops. Chad Babel's our production partner on it.
I went to school with Chad.
Yeah,
That's crazy. He's an Eastchester guy. So Chad was around.
Yeah,
so he was about
Chad
40
sees everything, so he's going to be listening to this.
And he was in Eastchester. He played basketball, and I coached. So like the coaches in the league were high school kids, and a combination of high school kids and dads. And so his dad coached, and then I guess no one wanted to coach this other team that I coached, and we were terrible. But we played against Chad and his dad. It was like, and now he's big time.
Yeah, no, Made Hoops is a great company now. So I brought Chad on. I met Chad. I would just go to Hoop Hall all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who's this Nike dude? So I just went up to him, and then we became, good friends. And then in 2018, when the August window opened up, there was the Under Armour Elite 24 game. They dropped that game, and I'm like, August, I got to put a game together. Let's bring it. At that first two games were at Dykeman.
Yep.
And went to Chad, or help us with players. I mean, we have a relationship with all the players, but Chad is deep. So we partnered on that, and then the rest. I think it's the best spring-summer all-star game.
It is pretty awesome.
Really is.
If you'd never gone, and just the overall, like the kids rolling in on the bus from New York City,
the atmosphere. What's crazy is the kids never play outdoors.
Right.
I only played outdoors.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a gym growing up in Trenton. There was no gym. The high school, maybe the high school coach would let you in to play. So outdoors, I think, is a big thing for them to come, see the Harlem community. Is just, I love the game.
Yeah.
One of the things I admire most about Coach Pat Mass, and this was we did this podcast last year, and we talk about social media exposure and promoting the athletes and the teams. And who does it better than Stepinac, right? Right now in high school basketball, there's not many.
As of last night, and credit to our guy Hector Martinez, like 14.8 thousand followers, top 5 high school followed program in the country. 2.9 million views in the last month, and we're going to City of Palms, then Jordan Brand, then Hoop Hall. So hopefully that grows. But like the visionary, it's
a huge part of it. So we did our first podcast, and I was like, okay, we're going to talk about Stepinac basketball every week. And then Pat starts talking about evolving and adapting and learning and networking and all these things. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this is the show. This is like the success in following a model of something, because these are things that he just understands, right? So he does it on his high school program. I think Slam has done it exceptionally well over the last 30 years. Yep. So how important is evolving? And like you said, who's this Nike guy? I'm going to go talk to him. Like networking with people and getting to touch.
No, it's when I first started, it was print. I always say we were the internet before the internet for all things basketball. You really couldn't get that much information. I mean, ESPN was really beginning to take off, but no one covered high school the way we did. No one covered college. The NBA, everybody covered on a national level. Also, we used to get tons of letters from people in Europe, Australia. Like I said earlier, I had no idea there were so many people into this stuff. It was just remarkable.
It really is. I mean, and now the digital side of it.
And then once the digital, I use like 05 as the turning point between print into digital, and then social media just blew it up. I mean, we're bigger than ever. I mean, maybe 20 million followers at this point.
Amazing. And obviously of the Slam High School. So 2018, Stepinac had lost in 2017 in the Catholic semis.
Right.
Semis?
Semis, yeah.
Semis, yeah.
Lost still the phantom loose
call. Like horrendous call.
0.3 seconds on the clock.
And the next year comes, and they have this great team. They have Alan Griffin, AJ Griffin, RJ Davis now.
Wait, I got to interrupt.
Yeah.
So you got to straighten me out on the Griffin thing.
Yeah.
So AJ Griffin.
Yep.
The dad is Adrian Griffin, Seton Hall.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, who's Alan Griffin that I know from Robeson?
No,
Syracuse?
that's different.
No connection.
So Alan Griffin is AJ's older brother.
Got it.
Son of Adrian, still Seton Hall, and Audrey. That's their two sons.
And they have a daughter.
And then the daughter played
finally.
Daughter played at UConn.
Yeah, Aubrey played at UConn. Phenomenal player.
Do you know Alan Griffin at Syracuse?
Yes.
Because I saw Alan is from the Stefan Marbury area.
Right.
So I remember 2016, I think it was.
I like Alan and Syracuse. A lot of people in New York think Stepinac doesn't like Syracuse. We have no issues with Syracuse. So disclaimer for everybody who watches this.
And what do you call it? Red Autry.
Yeah, we have.
I saw in high school. I mean,
we have no issues with Syracuse.
I have no
Klein,
issues. I wish.
GM.
Hey, look, that's a whole nother podcast.
Let's move on.
College basketball.
That's just like a copyright.
We could do that one tomorrow.
Yeah. So, 2016, I think it was. The Griffins were in Ossining High School, public school, and they were like okay. And Alan was like a little raw. AJ was like really, it was 8th grade, really young. And you were the mother reached out to you about.
Yeah, she called my office line.
What do you know about them?
My office line.
What do you know about them? You know anything? Are they any good? I was like, yeah, I think they take a chance. Like why not? And so they come into the school and they kind of put you guys in the map. But the thing that was crazy was you guys go to 2018 season and you go and you win. You beat Christ the King, and then you go up to Glens Falls and they beat Long Island Lutheran in this crazy wild game that I was there filming. It turned out being a little mini documentary that Slam High School actually bought. And had have you watched it recently?
Yeah.
You look young, man.
I am young. I was young.
You were like a baby coaching that team.
Yeah.
And I would think to myself, I'm like, I can't believe they let this young guy coach the team back then. You were like a kid.
I got hired in April of 2015. I was 27. Mm-hmm. I didn't get the job 2 years prior, which was probably a blessing.
Yeah.
So Tim Philp retires, stepped down. Tim had an unbelievable run, got the program to the AA, steps down in 2012? No. Yeah, whatever it was.
Yeah, Steve was there for 2 years.
Right? Steve was there for 2 years. I thought I was going to get the job. I did.
What were you doing before?
So my background, I went to Stepinac. I was a manager at Marist. I always tell people, I was a manager before it was cool. There was like 3 or 4 of us. There was no manager games.
It was definitely not cool.
It was not cool, right? It was not cool. Now, we have 4 amazing managers. Every college program's got
You have 4 managers first at Stepinac.
We've had a run. We've had a run. Not only these 4 guys. We had a guy go to St. Bonaventure. We have a sophomore at Virginia Tech. We had a guy go to West Virginia, all being managers. That we've had a run. So went to Marist. Then I was a GA for 2 years at James Madison.
Got it.
And then I actually came back. I took a job part-time with the Brooklyn Nets when the first year they moved. Was working for Aaron and Gary and PR. And then Mr. Carty, our principal, called me 5 days before school, and I'd got my master's, and he said, hey, we have an opening. And then after that, a couple weeks later, our board of trustees started what has been around forever. Actually, speaking of Rice, Lou DeMel started the Varsity B League in New York. So the Catholic League, back when Rice, Raymond's, Christ the King were dominant, they started a second varsity team.
Because I don't even remember Stepinac even in that league.
No, we didn't come to AA to
That's
2010.
why people talk about Stepinac. I'm like, they're not even in that league.
We were in the A. We were
S-A-N.
we were in the B and the A. So yeah,
That's Iona Prep.
Iona Prep was
That's
there.
the only school I even know up here.
Yeah.
Well, if you haven't been, you should, and you can get up to Westchester on like a Friday night. Come to one of their games on a Friday night, because I could tell you what it used to be like. Play 4:30 games on like Wednesdays, and there was 30 people in the gym.
Right.
And now you go there, and it's an event, and there's autographs, there's like and there's chairs lining everywhere. It's amazing to the point where they're gonna have to figure out how to build out this gym wider.
Look, I already proposed. It's going to be like 6.5 to 8 million. There's one donor who listens to this. We could put his name right on it. I tell him every week. I text him. You know, I know his wife would love it.
Yeah.
And all his friends would love it. And we'll design it. Whatever seat he wants, we'll make it nicer. Put a wet bar upstairs for him. We'll do it. Whatever he wants.
Catholic schools, they can do anything they want.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's But back to the slam piece.
Yeah.
That mini documentary we did. And when we went up and kind of that was just footage we were taking.
Yeah, I wasn't working. I was just following the team.
Everything that kind of happened with MSG varsity, right?
Yeah.
And then Slam ended up taking it on and it looped in, and then Konchowski was on it. And the interviews that came of it after, it was that kind of like
that got you
not only winning it, right?
Yeah,
winning it, which is, as you've been around, it's hard to win. And then Slam picking it up like. At 29, 30 years old, I'm going, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. That was, I mean, back. So anyway, Slam obviously started in 94. I had sold it in 2000, kept running it. Then it was sold 5 other times. So by the time I bought it back in 2017 with JDS Sports, it was really, I won't say dying, but it was hurting because the companies weren't investing in it. So until I was able to get it repurchased in 2018. The first thing I did was launch a Slam high school channel.
Yes.
We didn't even have one. It was basically Slam as one social media channel. And then, you know, there was Ball Is Life was out there. Overtime was in their early days. Hoop Mixtape.
Of course, yeah.
And we just weren't doing a good job on social with high school. So we started our channel from scratch. And
Stepinac was one of the first things profiled.
Yeah,
And
then we
that
started
team.
Really
and now
building
today,
it.
you look
now
7, 8,
we're,
9 years later. It's
close to about 1.8 million
The
on
only
high
thing,
school.
watching that back, I'm still upset that they did not use my footage of you doing the laundry after you beat Long Island Lutheran. And they're at the team hotel, and we're having like a drink, and Coach Pat goes, I gotta go do something. You know, take a walk. I said, yeah. So we walked downstairs, and I mean, where are we going? He goes, I gotta wash the uniforms. I didn't, we gotta play tomorrow. So he had to wash the uniforms.
Wait, who did you beat?
So in the semis, we beat Lehigh.
Who's on that Lehigh team?
That was Andre Corbello.
Okay.
Zed Key.
Yeah, a lot of big time college players. Yeah, I don't think any pros.
No, and then
when is Tobias for that little minute?
That's
they were
before.
earlier. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
before.
Yeah.
That was before. Yeah.
That 1 minute that he was on.
Yeah. They had the other 6'9" Lithuanian kid.
Yeah, they had a couple of Europeans.
I think he
Yeah.
went to Weber State.
They were loaded.
They were between them, their starting 5, and then ours was R.J. Davis, Alan Griffin, A.J. Griffin, Xavier Wilson, and Joel Soriano. Joel Soriano, his story of couldn't even run up and down the court. Now he's playing overseas.
Yeah,
played at St. John's.
Yeah,
Xavier Wilson had an unbelievable career at Lemoyne, playing overseas.
Yeah,
Alan Griffin, his success story. A.J. Griffin getting top 20 pick. And RJ's playing with the Lakers G League team now.
Yeah.
That was our starting 5.
This is, I mean, it's really unheard of when you think about it. So you and Lehigh. But when you think nationally, public school, Catholic school, I can't think of another program that has sustained itself like this.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And
No,
we, you know,
I can't
Usually
think
get a
of
run.
one.
Usually get a run. You get a run
I mean,
of talent. But like you kind of, those guys were gone, and then Boogie comes in, right? And the next group comes in, and
I mean, you got Matter Day.
yeah.
But they're not what they used to be. You know, some of the California schools, but I can't think of any other, you know, programs like yours.
Yeah, it's been
on a national level.
Yeah, it's been some run, and you know, it's to sustain it is the hardest part.
Exactly.
And I think, just like you know, in the business world and in life, it's to sustain. You got to have good people around you. You got to have the right support staff. You have to have people that believe in you. And I'm big on. My wife makes fun of me. I'm on the phone all the time. I'm a phone call guy. I'm sure you're the same way, right?
Can't do it on text, man.
Like, you know, I'm a phone call guy. I'm a letter guy. And you know, similar to people that you've known a lot longer than I have, just trying to
Stay
you know,
connected.
like Chris Lawler. I don't know if you know Chris.
I don't know
Chris was with Blue Star Media. He still is.
I remember Blue Star.
I remember meeting him at the first. It was Geico when I first started, and I just went out to Christ the King, and I just would go around and like introduce. And Chris was a sounding board. I was like, "Who's that?" He's like, "Oh, you should go meet him." And I would just follow the guy down to the hospitality room. And we had a guest on, Joe Arbitello from Christ the King last week, and he still got him and Mo Hicks have 6 titles. For me and Swain and everybody, Al, Lex, like that's where you want to try to get to the, you know.
Do you have like a middle school program?
We don't.
No middle school?
No,
Only high school. Yeah.
Only high school program. 9
That's
to 12.
Pat's next thing.
Summer camps? Like, how do you bring the kids in?
Our summer camps are sold out. We do 4
Right.
different sessions. We do a night camp, and then we do three day camps. We do our get ready for high school basketball clinics. So we do 3 now. We used to just do 1. Used to be Thanksgiving weekend, but now we do New Year's Eve, MLK Day, and President's Day. So there's no school. And believe it or not, a lot of people are finding us, you know, and you know, they want to be students at Stepinac because of what we offer, and then the whole approach.
Which kid travels the farthest?
Dylan Perry lives in Bergenfield, New Jersey. On this year's roster. A couple years ago, we had a kid come from Mineola, New York. So he would train to Penn Station, walk to Grand Central, train to White Plains, bus to school. We have a kid who lives in Midtown Manhattan, actually downtown Manhattan. A bunch of kids from Harlem, the Bronx. Yeah. And I try to go through like number 0. Oh, he's Yonkers. yeah. He's this, but. Yeah, Jersey, northern Jersey.
No, it's a lot for a kid to travel that far.
They got to want to go there.
And when you're at that age, you don't know.
Yeah. So, and it's a sacrifice to their parents and the commitment they make sacrifice. And, you know, and whatnot. And, you know, that's why I think the best part is the relationships that we have with our guys and the fact that they stay. Right, and we're gonna get at some point. We're gonna get hit by it. I don't know when. Hopefully, it's not soon. But
they have kids who don't play that say, okay, I want an opportunity to play high school basketball. There's only got one chance, so like they might leave for their senior year, go back to their public school, and do that, and they have great success.
Yeah,
you know.
And we're in a unique spot because we have 9 seniors. 5 are signed, committed, all that, and 4 not. And Al Shepard and Swain, my 2 assistants, say to them all the time, like, Pat has gotten almost every senior that wanted to go play in college to college and been successful. Like I use all the time. Like Matt Brand went to Hobart. Matt went to Hobart, came off the bench for us. Yeah. Was a captain. Matt's crushing in New York City in the finance world right now. Had an unbelievable experience. Josh Zangerly, Jonah Pang. Jonah barely got off the bench for us at Stepinac. Yeah. Played 120 games at Johnson and Wales. Josh almost scored 2,000 points.
That's amazing.
You know, so like I can keep going down the list.
College coaches know this.
Yeah.
They know how to spot that 7th man, 8th man.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, the kids don't understand it. Like sitting on the bench. I always ask a kid, would you rather sit on the bench at Duke?
Yeah.
Or go be the big dog up at, Williams D3 or something like that. So, it's a tough decision.
And what are the answers so you ask kids that? What are the answers you get? Do they all say Duke?
No, it varies.
Yeah.
It really varies. Just kids don't get it. You're 16. I know when I was 16, I didn't get it. But... they don't understand the opportunities of, go to a Colgate, which is a great program, or an Ivy League, or go to Harvard, play for Tommy Amaker. These are great opportunities.
Yeah.
So I always push the kid, by the school.
Yeah.
But if you're elite, it's a business. And you want to try and get to the league.
Yeah. And I think you've seen this. Yeah. We try as a program to provide exposure, right? And And I think part of the problem in New York, you talk about New York being down, and that's been a huge trend on shows across all New York platforms.
It's horrible.
Right? It's and I'll call coaches out on, I think a lot of coaches care about like winning and themselves right now in the New York landscape than development, year-round relationships with their players, and play games. We played 2 true road games at 2 state powers to open. We could have played local A or B schools in New York and won by 30. It's going to do nothing for us and our kids.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing. And we've lost both those games. People think the world's over, but
it doesn't matter.
It's going to benefit.
You won't get kids if you don't play a national program.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, the testament to how much his kids, how much his players support him, is that there was this hashtag a few weeks ago going into their game against Thomas Jefferson. It was initial, but it was get back, spank Pat, him, right? The other kids said this, and so Stepinac. And early on, I'm like, they might score 1,000 points tonight. The way they were playing, and they were awesome. They scored 92 point. I said, all right, these kids really do support their coach, which is great. It's a testament. What do you, before we let you go, sustained success?
I have one more good question.
All right, so sustained success.
Yeah.
What is the advice you can give? I mean, myself too, who works in media, but also Coach Pat is a basketball person.
It's keep grinding. I mean, I've been doing this for 50 years. You just, every morning you get up, you just keep pushing, and, you're young, still coaching. You've been doing this a long time. It's the hardest thing I find now is to break through, really, in media. Mm-hmm. So, what you're doing, even Stepinac on the national level, there's so much clutter, so much crazy stuff on social media and a lot of junk. So, basketball is big. You got the NBA and all that, but it's just hard to break through virally and to do something that people will, get attracted to.
My biggest struggle is am I still relevant, right? So obviously I'm in the media.
Exactly.
Am I still relevant? Because if you're not relevant, then no one really cares what you say, right? No one's really gonna care. I remember when I was young, when I first started, and I was I'd hear people say, Devaney picked us to lose. I had a third grade teacher for my daughter. Still remember 10 years earlier, me predicting their son's basketball team to lose in the Class C championship. She brought it up at our parent-teacher conference. And my wife was kicking me under the table. And I thought to myself, I guess I'm still relevant. That's important.
To stay relevant.
It still mattered.
To be relevant on a big national level is very, very hard. So my last question, if we can handle it. Who has the impact, the high school program or the summer AAU program, and how do you deal with that?
That's a good one. And I would say for us, right, every program, I know many programs where the summer rules, right? Correct. I think the biggest thing for me, and I keep bringing up Coach Swain, who's been with me every day.
Where do most of your kids play? What?
So we have PSA Cardinals.
Got it.
New York Wrens. We have kids with Wrens United. We've had kids play with Riverside Hawks. New York Jayhawks.
City Rock still around?
They are, but we don't have many kids with them. But I think the biggest thing in my 11 years for Coach Swain and I is being open to the relationships with the grassroots in New York State and working together. And I think that's the misconception / the problem why the grassroots have so much power moving kids is there's a divide amongst high school coaches and AAU coaches. And for me, some don't like me. I don't like some of them, but I respect what they do. And I think they respect what I do and what we do. And I think it's just as important to finish with us in March and April to August.
They own them.
And working together to figure out the best plan for their success. Fortunate enough for the kids we have, a lot of them have a parent or two-parent household.
Yep.
That our biggest thing is we're going to try to help provide the blueprint and guidance for you to be successful. Your mom and dad, or your mom or your dad, and work with the AAU programs. But there is a lot of issues across the basketball landscape, specifically in New York, that there's a divide amongst the high school coaches, the grassroots coaches, and my thing is, how about work together to have the best plan?
That's a very good point.
Have the best plan for those kids and those families throughout the whole year. You know,
I have a 12-year-old daughter who plays AAU basketball, and every once in a while I'll bring up something about CYO, and like people kind of like make a comment, right? They kind of, and I'm like, man, 12-year-old girls, I can't imagine what it's like for high school.
The girls thing,
and the animosity, the undermining, and all that stuff, you know, like that goes on. So yeah, I see it. You manage it very well, though.
It's an unfortunate part of the business.
It is.
Now.
It is.
We never had, when I grew up, there was no travel program. It was unheard of.
Yeah.
Then AAU, and it's business. It's all money now at this point. So.
Dennis, what do you got coming up?
For me, just getting ready for the holidays. I'll check out the Jordan Holiday Classic, get ready for Hoop Hall, possibly the All-Star Game. We'll see. You know, I'm always up for a high school game. Anywhere.
Yeah.
I'll have to get up.
Will you only go see elite? Will you only go see elite school, or do you have ever pop into
pretty
like
much? I want to see an elite player.
Yeah.
That's why I go to see, like, is this kid going to really make it?
And when you see the elite. At this point,
I've been wrong a lot.
Yeah.
It's easy to say Marbury, Sebastian Telfair.
Yeah.
Well, Lance had a good career.
Yeah.
All those guys are easy. It's the kid trying to think. I can't even think of one kid like out of nowhere that made it. It's funny. I watched an NBA game now. I don't know 80% of those players. A lot of them weren't all Americans. Watch OKC. Hartenstein, Cason Wallace. J-Dub, like, they weren't big stars in college. So the kids, to you, Pat, I'll throw it to you. Last question. How much better do you think the kids are now versus, early 2000s, 90s, 80s?
Yeah, I mean, the game continues to evolve, and these kids are getting better and better. I do think there's in the 70s, 80s, 90s, I do think some kids were playing or doing other things where now they don't, right? It's basketball 12 months.
One focus, right.
One focus, or lacrosse or baseball or tennis.
Yep.
It's one focus. And, I just think these kids, everybody has a trainer. The strength side of it, the investment their families or whoever's making, high schools, grassroots programs, academies, whatever it is for these kids. And you just look at the skill set. We had a session last week. We practiced at the NBA PA, and we sat down. It was Wilson Chandler, Eddie Jordan, Andre Iguodala, and Sean Livingston, and they watched practice. And Eddie Jordan said to Wilson Chandler in our kind of real sit down, like it was real. Like we shut the cameras off. It was real. It was unbelievable. And Wilson said to Eddie, he was like, "I never Euro'd." Coming up, I didn't see a 7-footer Euroing
that to me
the skill set
is the craziest thing. Just sitting on YouTube or whatever it is and seeing a 7th grader do that Euro step. I'm like, what is that?
They teach it.
Those guys were like
incredible.
Those guys were like, we didn't shoot threes like they do now.
And forget threes.
Yeah.
You'd get benched if you shot a three. We didn't even have threes, but if you shot from out there. You're on the bench, baby.
It's a different game. Different game. If you're there Friday night, it'd be a different game. Keep grinding. That's the number one thing. So, Dennis, I appreciate you coming. You look very comfortable on this couch. You're welcome back anytime.
I love it, man. I love it.
I'm going to give you the remaining home games we have. We play another game at the county center. You don't have to go to all Chad's events. You can come to one of ours.
No,
That'd
definitely.
be good. So, and Greg Persino and all those guys. But
Greg's my guy.
Thank you for being here and for coming up.
I love it. Stepinac will keep the flame burning.
That's it.
What's left of it for... would never consider Westchester as part of New York basketball.
Oh, come on.
Now
that was a dagger.
But now, it's Mount Vernon. That was it. But
and Stepinac.
Now we'll take what we can get because New York basketball is in serious straits.
All right. Well, Dennis Page, thanks so much for joining us. Coach Pat Mass, have a safe trip this week down to Florida. Enjoy 80 degrees. And
it's going to be 80 degrees. We'll see everybody after the holiday.
Yeah.
Have a great Christmas. And because unless we figure out a way to bring the studio down to Florida, we're going to be a little busy.
All Pro Cleaning Restoration, White Plains Hospital, they can make anything happen. But we'll take a little break for the holidays, and we'll see you next week here on the Inside Stepinac Basketball Podcast.